Tonight, as you prepare to rest, understand that the moment before sleep is the bridge between your current reality and the world you wish to create. This is the golden moment where your subconscious mind is most receptive, where the impressions you leave will take root and shape your waking life. Close your eyes and strip away the concerns of the day. Feel the stillness around you. In this quiet space, do not dwell on what is or what has been. Instead, assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, not as something distant or uncertain, but as a present reality. See it, feel it, breathe it in, as though it were already yours. The moment before sleep is the doorway to creation, the bridge between the conscious and the subconscious mind. It is in this delicate state, where the mind drifts between wakefulness and rest, that the most powerful impressions are made. Throughout the day, the conscious mind is filled with countless distractions, thoughts racing in different directions, responsibilities demanding attention, and external circumstances shaping the way one perceives life. But as night falls, and the body begins to relax, the mind shifts into a state where it is no longer resisting, no longer caught up in the rigid structures of logic and reasoning. This is the perfect moment to impress upon the subconscious the reality that is desired. The subconscious mind does not argue, question, or analyze. It simply accepts whatever is impressed upon it as truth and works tirelessly to bring it to fruition. What is deeply felt and believed in this state will manifest outwardly, whether it is desired or not. This is why what one dwells upon in these final moments before sleep is so crucial. If one falls asleep in a state of worry, regret, or doubt, these emotions will continue to shape the experiences of the waking world. But if one drifts into sleep in the feeling of peace, abundance, and fulfillment, life will begin to reflect these inner states. Throughout history, those who have understood the power of the subconscious have used the moments before sleep to reshape their reality. They have known that whatever occupies the mind before slumber will continue to work in unseen ways long after the conscious mind has rested. This is not mere wishful thinking, but a fundamental law of mind. Thoughts and feelings impressed upon the subconscious in this drowsy state become deeply ingrained, influencing the way one perceives and interacts with the world. It is not just about what is thought, but how it is felt. Emotion is the key that unlocks the door to creation, and nothing enters the subconscious mind without first being felt. When the body is at ease and the mind begins to quiet, the boundary between the inner and outer world becomes blurred. It is in this state that the mind becomes highly suggestible, open to whatever is most dominantly felt. This is why it is essential to be deliberate about what is entertained in these final moments. If one revisits the difficulties of the day, replays old conversations, or worries about the future, these impressions are taken as instructions by the subconscious. But if one consciously shifts focus to the life desired, feeling its reality in the present moment, this too is taken as truth. Many people unknowingly use this time to reinforce the very circumstances they wish to change. They lie in bed replaying their failures, dwelling on fears and reinforcing beliefs that limit them. They do not realize that in doing so, they are planting seeds that will continue to bear fruit in their waking life. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts what is persistently impressed upon it. This is why the final thoughts before sleep are some of the most powerful tools for transformation. To make full use of this moment, one must first quiet the mind. The body should be relaxed, the breath steady, and all external distractions put aside. As the conscious mind begins to lose its grip, it becomes easier to shift into a state of deep feeling. In this state, one must assume that the desire is already fulfilled. It is not about hoping, wishing, or longing. It is about knowing. The feeling must be real, tangible, and present. It must be felt with certainty, as though there is nothing left to wait for. By doing this night after night, the subconscious mind will take these impressions and begin to reflect them in the waking world. Circumstances will shift, opportunities will appear, and life will begin to rearrange itself to match the new inner state. It is not magic, nor is it coincidence. It is simply the law in action. What is impressed upon the subconscious before sleep becomes the blueprint for tomorrow. This is why it is said that the last 5 minutes before sleep are the most important of the entire day. They determine the quality of the night's rest and shape the experiences of the days to come. Those who use this time wisely will find that their lives begin to unfold with greater ease and alignment. They will no longer feel like victims of circumstance, but creators of their own reality. They will understand that everything they seek already exists within them, waiting to be claimed. It does not take years of effort or struggle to change one's life. It takes consistency in what is impressed upon the mind, particularly in those moments before sleep. If done with unwavering faith and persistence, even the most stubborn circumstances will begin to shift. Life is but a reflection of the mind, and by mastering the thoughts and feelings entertained before sleep, one masters the art of creation itself. To manifest anything, it is not enough to simply think about it or wish for it. Desire alone does not create. It is the feeling of the wish fulfilled that shapes reality. The mind is constantly producing thoughts, but thoughts without deep emotional conviction remain mere ideas. It is feeling that impresses upon the subconscious mind and dictates what is reflected in the external world. This is why assuming the feeling of already having what is desired is the key to manifestation. The subconscious does not respond to distant hopes or uncertain dreams. It responds to what is felt as real in the present moment. The mistake many people make is keeping their desires in the future. They think in terms of one day, hopefully, or if things work out. They see their goals as separate from them, as something to be attained rather than something that already exists within. But manifestation does not work that way. The mind must be trained to believe that the desire is not coming, it is already here. This is not about pretending or forcing belief. It is about shifting into the state of being that naturally aligns with the desired outcome. Everything in life is experienced through states of consciousness. A person who is wealthy is not just someone with money, they live in the state of abundance. Their thoughts, actions, and reactions are shaped by this state. The same applies to love, success, health, or any other desired reality. To bring a new experience into being, one must step into the state of that experience before it appears outwardly. This is why feeling is so important. When one assumes the state of being in love, the mind no longer operates from a place of loneliness. When one assumes the state of wealth, scarcity no longer dominates their thinking. When one assumes the state of health, illness loses its hold. The easiest way to do this is to shift attention away from what is missing and toward what it feels like to already have it. The mind must be saturated with the sensations of fulfillment. If love is desired, one must feel the warmth, connection, and joy as if the relationship is already present. If financial success is the goal, one must embody the security, confidence, and freedom that comes with it. This is not just about words or affirmations. It is about a deep inner knowing. The feeling must be so real that it leaves no room for doubt. Some may wonder how to generate feelings for something that has not yet appeared in physical form. The answer is imagination. The mind does not differentiate between what is experienced physically and what is vividly imagined. A memory from the past can bring forth emotions as if it were happening again, and a well-constructed scene in the mind can produce sensations as though it were real. This is the power of assumption. By constructing a scene that implies the wish has already been fulfilled and immersing in that reality, the feeling naturally arises. For example, if one desires a promotion, they do not need to wait for it to happen before feeling successful. They must assume that state now. They can imagine walking into their office, hearing congratulations, signing documents with a sense of authority. If love is the goal, they can picture themselves receiving affectionate messages, hearing words of devotion, feeling the presence of their partner beside them. The mind and body respond to these inner experiences as if they were physically real. And through repeated assumption, this becomes the dominant state of being. Doubt is the greatest obstacle in this process. Many people will momentarily step into the feeling of their wish fulfilled, but quickly return to their current reality, questioning whether it is working. This constant shift between faith and doubt disrupts the process. The key is persistence. The feeling must become a natural part of daily life, something that is carried even after the visualization ends. It is not enough to feel abundant for a few minutes and then worry about money the rest of the day. It is not enough to feel loved in a meditation but return to a state of loneliness afterward. The assumption must be maintained, no matter what the outer world appears to show. Physical reality is always a reflection of past assumptions. If one looks at their current circumstances and allows them to dictate what they believe, they remain stuck in the same cycle. But if one chooses to feel differently, to assume a new reality before it appears, then the external world must eventually conform. Life mirrors back what is most dominantly felt, not what is occasionally wished for. Assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a one-time act, it is a way of being. It is living each day as though the desire is already realized, responding to the world from that state of mind, and trusting that what is impressed upon the subconscious must come to pass. When this is done with conviction, manifestation becomes effortless. The subconscious mind does not communicate in words alone. It speaks in images, sensations, and emotions. To impress a new reality upon it, one must go beyond mere thoughts and fully engage the senses in imagination. It is not enough to simply think about a desire in abstract terms. The experience must be brought to life in the mind as vividly as possible, with all the details that would naturally accompany it. The more real it feels, the more powerfully it imprints upon the subconscious, and the more effortlessly it will manifest in physical form. Every experience in life is filtered through the five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. When recalling a past event, the mind does not just remember it in words. It brings back the feelings, the environment, the atmosphere, and even the physical sensations associated with it. This is how the mind naturally stores and recalls experiences. The same principle applies to manifestation. The more fully the senses are engaged in imagining a desired reality, the more the subconscious mind accepts it as truth. To create the reality of wealth, it is not enough to simply repeat, "I am rich." The mind must be immersed in the experience of being financially abundant. One must see themselves handling large sums of money, feel the texture of the bills in their hands, hear the sound of a bank deposit notification, taste the food from an elegant restaurant, and smell the new leather of a luxury car. Every sense should be engaged in the scene, making it as detailed and tangible as possible. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If an experience is repeated with full sensory involvement, the mind assumes it is reality and begins to shape the external world accordingly. For someone desiring love, imagining being in a happy relationship is far more effective than simply wishing for it. It is not about hoping that love will come someday. It is about feeling its presence now. They must hear the laughter of their partner, feel the warmth of their embrace, see their smile, and experience the comfort of companionship. They should imagine waking up to a good morning text, feeling the excitement of a date, and sharing conversations that bring joy and connection. The deeper they immerse in this experience, the more naturally love will flow into their reality. The reason this technique works so effectively is because the subconscious mind operates through feeling. A person who has a strong memory of an event can often recall the emotions they felt at that time, even if years have passed. In the same way, a well-crafted scene in the imagination can bring forth emotions as if the experience were actually happening. If one can feel the joy, gratitude, and excitement of having their desire fulfilled while they are still in the process of manifesting it, they have already succeeded in impressing the subconscious. Many people fail in manifestation because they keep their desires as distant possibilities rather than present realities. They think about their goals in a detached way, as something they hope will happen rather than something they are already experiencing internally. But reality is not created in the future, it is shaped in the present. The key is to live in the end result now, to feel as if the desire has already materialized. This is why engaging the senses is so powerful. When an imagined scene feels real enough, it convinces the subconscious that it is already a fact, and the external world eventually mirrors that assumption. Another crucial aspect of this process is repetition. The mind learns through repetition, and the more frequently a desired reality is imagined with full sensory involvement, the stronger the impression on the subconscious. A single vivid scene played out once may leave an impact, but consistent reinforcement deepens the belief. Every night before sleep, revisiting the same scene with the same emotions and details strengthens the assumption until it becomes the dominant state of being. The mind must be trained to dwell in a state of the wish fulfilled, not just occasionally, but habitually. This does not mean forcing belief or trying to convince oneself that something is real when there is doubt. It simply means returning to the imagined experience over and over again, allowing the feelings to become second nature. The more naturally one can step into the scene and engage all the senses, the more effortlessly the subconscious accepts it as truth. The external world is always a reflection of what is most deeply impressed upon the mind. If one fills their imagination with rich sensory details of the life they desire, the subconscious will have no choice but to bring those experiences into form. Reality must conform to what is persistently felt as real. When the senses are fully engaged in imagination, manifestation is no longer a struggle, it becomes an inevitable unfolding of what has already been accepted within. The greatest barrier to manifestation is the tendency to question, doubt, and attempt to control the process. The mind, conditioned by logic and external circumstances, wants to understand how and when a desire will materialize. But manifestation does not operate within the limitations of reason. It is governed by the unseen forces of belief and assumption. The moment one begins to analyze or force the process, resistance is created. The conscious mind interferes, disrupting the natural flow that brings desires into reality. Instead of trusting the subconscious to carry out the work, many people attempt to manipulate circumstances, growing frustrated when results do not appear as expected. This frustration only strengthens the belief that the desire is out of reach. To manifest successfully, one must release all attachment to the how and when, and instead surrender fully to the certainty that it is already done. Manifestation is not about chasing or striving. It is about aligning with the feeling of already having what is desired. The subconscious mind does not require effort to bring something into existence. It simply responds to what is most consistently assumed to be true. The process is effortless when one trusts in the unseen, allowing reality to shift naturally without interference. This is where faith plays a crucial role. Faith is not blind hope or passive waiting. It is a deep, unshakable knowing that what has been impressed upon the subconscious must come to pass. Just as a seed planted in the soil does not need constant digging to check its progress, a deeply assumed reality does not need to be questioned. The seed will grow if left undisturbed. When a person fixates on how their desire will manifest, they unknowingly limit the infinite possibilities available. The subconscious mind operates in ways beyond human understanding, orchestrating events, people, and circumstances in perfect alignment. If one insists on a specific path or timeline, they may reject the very opportunities that would have led them to their goal. The mind, confined by past experiences and logical reasoning, cannot always perceive the best route, but the subconscious, working through the unseen, knows no such limitations. It rearranges reality effortlessly when given the freedom to do so. Doubt is one of the most common obstacles in manifestation. The moment one starts looking for proof or questioning whether it is working, they have already shifted back into a state of lack. They are no longer assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, but rather reinforcing the belief that it has not yet happened. This is why detachment is essential. Detachment does not mean indifference or lack of desire. It means confidence. It means knowing that what has been asked for is already on its way. Just as one does not wonder whether the sun will rise tomorrow, there is no need to question what is certain. Many people unknowingly delay their manifestations by constantly measuring progress. They look at their current circumstances and, seeing no immediate change, begin to doubt. They question whether they are doing it correctly, whether they need to try harder, whether they should look for external signs. This back and forth state weakens the assumption, sending conflicting signals to the subconscious. Instead of allowing the process to unfold, they introduce resistance. The key is to act as though it is already done. A person who has truly assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled does not seek validation. They move through life with quiet confidence, knowing that reality will reflect their inner state in due time. To fully let go, one must shift focus away from the desire itself and toward the feeling it brings. Instead of obsessing over its arrival, one must embody the emotions associated with having it now. If love is desired, instead of longing for a partner, one must cultivate the feeling of already being loved. If success is the goal, instead of worrying about external validation, one must assume the mindset of someone who is already accomplished. This shift in focus dissolves desperation and aligns one with the desired state effortlessly. The most powerful manifestations occur when there is no sense of urgency, only certainty. When one deeply believes that their desire is already theirs, they do not need to force outcomes or question the process. They do not chase, beg, or attempt to manipulate circumstances. They move through life with ease, trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This is the true art of manifestation, not forcing, not waiting anxiously, but simply being in the state of the wish fulfilled. Reality must conform to what is most dominantly assumed. When the how and when are released, the manifestation is free to unfold in its perfect way. The subconscious mind is most impressionable in the moments before sleep. This is the time when the conscious mind, with all its doubts, fears, and limitations, begins to fade into the background, allowing direct access to the deeper layers of the self. What is felt, imagined, and assumed in this drowsy, relaxed state is absorbed without resistance, shaping the reality that unfolds. Many people go to bed replaying worries, regrets, or unfulfilled desires, unaware that they are programming their subconscious to bring more of the same. But if one consciously directs their thoughts and emotions before sleep, they can effortlessly mold their future. The key is to fill the mind with the feeling of already having what is desired, impressing this assumption so deeply that it becomes an unquestioned truth. The state just before sleep is a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious. In everyday life, the conscious mind dominates, filtering experiences through logic, memory, and perception of the external world. It is the part of the mind that questions, doubts, and rationalizes. But as sleep approaches, the conscious mind loses its grip. The critical faculties weaken, and the subconscious becomes highly receptive. This is why the final thoughts and emotions before sleep are so crucial. They bypass the usual mental resistance and go straight into the realm that creates reality. If one goes to bed in a state of frustration, fear, or lack, they unknowingly reinforce those conditions. But if they enter sleep immersed in the feeling of their wish fulfilled, they set the stage for its manifestation. To use this time effectively, one must deliberately shift into the state of their desired reality. This is done not through force or struggle, but through gentle assumption. It is a relaxation into the feeling of already having what is wanted, as though drifting into a dream where the desire is not something hoped for, but something real and present. The more natural this assumption feels, the more powerfully it imprints upon the subconscious. This is not about wishing or longing. It is about sinking into the certainty that the desire is already fulfilled. One of the most effective techniques for this process is constructing a simple scene that implies the wish has already come to pass. This scene should be something that naturally follows the fulfillment of the desire, something that brings a sense of joy, relief, or accomplishment. If wealth is the goal, one might imagine seeing a bank statement with a large balance, feeling the excitement of financial freedom. If love is desired, one could picture receiving an affectionate message or sharing a quiet, happy moment with a partner. The scene should not be long or complicated. A few vivid seconds repeated over and over are enough. The key is not the scene itself, but the feeling it generates. The subconscious responds to emotion, not logic. If the feeling of fulfillment is fully experienced, the subconscious mind accepts it as reality. Repetition is essential. The scene should be played in the mind's eye slowly and deliberately until sleep takes over. This is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a controlled and intentional act of assuming a new state of being. Many people find that after several nights of practicing this, their dreams begin to reflect their assumptions. They start waking up with a sense of certainty that their desire is already unfolding. This is a sign that the subconscious is fully accepting the new reality. Doubt and impatience can disrupt this process. Some may attempt this technique for a night or two, then check their external world for signs of change. If nothing appears immediately, they fall back into old patterns of disbelief. But reality does not shift instantly. It mirrors what is consistently felt. Just as a seed takes time to grow once planted, the impressions made upon the subconscious take time to materialize in the external world. The key is persistence. Even if nothing seems to change outwardly at first, the inner state must remain unwavering. Night after night, the assumption must be reinforced until it becomes natural. Another important factor is relaxation. Tension, stress, or trying too hard can block the process. The ideal state before sleep is one of calm surrender, where the body and mind are at ease. If resistance arises, one should simply allow it to pass without engagement. The goal is not to force belief, but to gently shift into the state of fulfillment. The more effortless the assumption, the more deeply it is impressed upon the subconscious. Over time, this practice transforms not just the external world, but the entire inner experience of life. The subconscious begins to operate from the assumption that the desire is already real, guiding thoughts, actions, and circumstances toward its fulfillment. Reality does not change through effort alone. It changes through the unwavering certainty that what is felt within must be expressed without. By mastering the moments before sleep, one gains control over the unseen forces that shape their world. Once a desire has been impressed upon the subconscious mind, the final and most crucial step is to trust the process and remain unshaken by external circumstances. The mistake many people make is constantly looking for signs, questioning whether their manifestation is working, or allowing doubt to creep in when they see no immediate changes. This reaction stems from a misunderstanding of how reality is shaped. The external world is nothing more than a reflection of the dominant assumptions held within. If one continues to seek validation from the outside, they reinforce the idea that the desired outcome is separate from them, rather than something that is already theirs. The key to effortless manifestation is unwavering faith. Faith is not about hoping something will happen. It is the quiet inner knowing that what has been assumed in imagination must come to pass. This does not mean one has to feel intensely positive every moment of the day. It means that beneath all emotions and temporary fluctuations, there is a deep-rooted certainty that the desire is already unfolding. It is this level of trust that allows manifestations to materialize naturally, without force or struggle. One of the greatest tests of faith is persistence in the assumption despite contradictory external evidence. Many people allow their current reality to dictate their beliefs. If they look around and see no change, they assume their manifestation is not working. But this is like planting a seed and then doubting its growth simply because the sprout has not yet appeared above the soil. The subconscious mind operates beyond the visible world, orchestrating events, shifting circumstances, and aligning people in ways that cannot always be perceived immediately. Just because something is not yet seen does not mean it is not happening. The process of manifestation is always at work, but the timing and method of its unfolding are beyond conscious control. Another common trap is the urge to force outcomes. When one attempts to manipulate circumstances, push things into place, or control the how of manifestation, they interfere with the natural unfolding of their desire. This stems from a lack of trust in the subconscious mind's ability to bring about results in the best possible way. The conscious mind, limited by past experiences and logical reasoning, often believes it knows the best path to manifestation. But the subconscious works with infinite intelligence, arranging reality in ways that the conscious mind cannot foresee. When one tries to take control of the process, they often block the very opportunities that would have led them to their goal effortlessly. The key is to surrender, allowing the manifestation to come in its own perfect way. Surrender does not mean inaction, it means inspired action. When a desire is fully assumed as real, the subconscious naturally guides thoughts, impulses, and behaviors toward its fulfillment. Opportunities arise, intuitive nudges appear, and circumstances begin to shift. But these movements happen without force. They feel natural and effortless. The only responsibility is to remain aligned with the feeling of already having the desire, trusting that all necessary actions will reveal themselves at the right time. A powerful way to reinforce trust in the process is to practice living as if the manifestation is already true. This does not mean pretending or deceiving oneself. It means embodying the state of the fulfilled desire internally. A person who has assumed wealth does not constantly worry about money. A person who has assumed love does not seek reassurance that they are loved. They move through life with quiet confidence, knowing that what they have impressed upon their subconscious must be reflected in their external world. They do not react to temporary delays or setbacks, because they understand that these are simply remnants of old assumptions dissolving. Doubt and fear may arise from time to time, but they must not be given power. The moment doubt is entertained, the energy shifts back to a state of lack. Instead of focusing on what is missing, attention must always be brought back to the feeling of already having. The subconscious mind responds to the dominant state, not fleeting thoughts. If faith remains strong, the external world will inevitably conform to the inner assumption. The ultimate proof of manifestation is not found in seeking evidence, but in knowing that reality has no choice but to reflect what has been consistently assumed. The moment one fully trusts in this principle, manifestation ceases to be a struggle. The desire becomes inevitable, unfolding in perfect timing and in the most effortless way possible. Manifestation is not a matter of chance or effort. It is a deliberate act of aligning with the unseen forces that shape reality. The mind, particularly in the moments before sleep, holds the key to transforming desires into lived experiences. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, impressing it deeply upon the subconscious, and trusting in its inevitable unfolding, one gains mastery over their reality. The process is simple. Relax into the certainty that what is desired is already done. Construct a vivid scene that implies fulfillment, repeat it until sleep takes over, and let go of all need to control the how or when. Doubt, fear, and impatience must be replaced with unwavering faith. The subconscious mind, free from resistance, will effortlessly orchestrate events, circumstances, and opportunities to bring about the desired outcome. What is felt deeply and assumed persistently must manifest. The only requirement is to remain steadfast, unaffected by temporary appearances, and fully aligned with the knowing that reality has no choice but to reflect what is most dominantly believed. When one truly understands and applies this principle, they no longer wait for manifestations. They live in the certainty that they already are. Reality then bends to meet that assumption, effortlessly and inevitably.